In this video, I'll be showing you the most important things you need to know about using Google Slides as a teacher. I'll show you a bunch of different examples of how you could use Google Slides in your classroom. I'll give you my best tips and tricks about creating your own Google Slides, and I'll show you where you can find awesome pre-created slides templates that you can take, edit, and use. I'll also show you how to do things like create assignment templates for students, how to draw directly on top of slides, how to add audio comments to them, and how to make all your slide presentations interactive. So stick around and I'll show you everything you need to know about teaching with Google Slides. In this first example, we're looking at a basic Google Slides presentation that allows you to just present information to your students using different types of multimedia. And a quick way to just upgrade these presentations would be to use an add-on like Pear Deck, and that's going to allow you to ask students interactive questions that they would answer throughout your presentation. You can also spice up your slides presentations by adding Bitmoji scenes, and you can even do things like add an animated GIF of yourself and then upload that to your Google Slide as well. And I have separate videos about Bitmoji scenes and how to turn yourself into a GIF on my channel. I'll put the links in the video description below. Here we're looking at an example of a hyperdoc that I set up with students with different links out to other EdTech programs so that students can do their work independently. Setting up self-paced hyperdocs like this is great for flipped instruction or asynchronous learning. And it's also just an effective strategy for creating more self-paced, independent learning experiences for students while also freeing up your time to be able to do things like pull small groups. This next example is a Google Slides project that a student did to analyze quotes from a book that we were reading. You can also use Google Slides to set up drag and drop activities such as this one created by Heather Marshall, where she has students drag the names of particular geographic locations or geographic features, and then they would delete the box to reveal the correct answer. She also set up a drag and drop activity here where students would be matching the correct word to a definition. And in this whole group collaborative assignment that Heather also set up, students would go find an image and an icon related to an ancient Egyptian artifact, write a phrase about what they learned, and then present their learning to the rest of the class. So you can see that student projects in Google Slides can be much more involved and time intensive, or they can be really quick activities that you do potentially in a single class period like this one. By the way, be sure to follow Heather. I put the link for her Twitter account in the video description below. Okay, there are several different ways that you can get to Google Slides. One is that once you're on Google or in another Google application, you just go up to the waffle, scroll down, and find Google Slides. Another is that you just go directly to Google Slides by typing google.com/slides. You can also get to Slides from your Google Drive by clicking New and then scrolling down to Google Slides. Lastly, if you're using Google Chrome, you can just go up and type slides.new, hit enter, and that will open up a brand new slide deck. The first thing you're going to want to do is go up and give your slide deck a name. Then you'll see on the right-hand side that you have some different themes that you can choose from if you don't just want to start from a totally blank slide here. Just scroll down to one you like, click on it, and that will bring that theme in. You'll see when you go up to the Add New Slides button and click on the drop-down menu that there are lots of different slide templates within a theme that you can choose. I'll go ahead and just choose this title and 2 columns template, and you'll see that this template includes some pre-created text boxes for you to be able to add text or other types of media. The templates are useful when you're creating slides because the alignment is already all set up and you could basically just type in this and be ready to go if you want. So I'll start here with something I would typically do when creating a lesson and type today's agenda in the top text box. I usually like to change the font, so to do that, just highlight the text and then go up to fonts, and there you'll see a drop-down menu with a bunch of different fonts that you can choose from. Now, the initial fonts you're given are somewhat limited, so if you want to add new fonts, then you just need to go to Add Fonts, and there you'll see a much wider range of font types that you can choose from. Just select one that you like, click OK, and that new font will be added to your regular font menu. In addition to changing the font, you also have basic formatting options here, like increasing the size of the text, making the text bold, italicized, as well as underlined. And you can also highlight the background behind the text to help it stand out a little bit more. Now I want to make sure that this text is aligned. Next, I'll click on the 3 dots to expand the menu, and then I'll click on Center Align in order to center align the text. Now that's going to center align the text on the entire slide. But notice how right now the text is actually aligned toward the bottom of the text box. Right beneath the alignment tool, You'll also see that there's an option to be able to center align the text in the text box itself. That's going to bring that text from sitting at the bottom of the text box to actually sitting directly in the middle. Next, to make the text pop out a little bit more, you can also add border weight to the text box itself. To do that, select border weight and then select a thicker line. You can also change the color of that outline by clicking on the pencil with the line underneath and then selecting a different color. Another way to make the text pop even more is to backfill the color in the text box by going up to the fill option. Here you can select a color and you'll see that that fills the entire text box behind the text to make it stand out a little bit more. Now, right now the preset text box is pretty large in comparison to the text. So you can also drag the edges of the text box to shrink it down. Notice now that the text box is not actually center aligned. It's helpful to use the alignment tools when designing Google Slides. So here, for example, when you slide the text box back toward the center, you'll see a red line show up that indicates that that text box is now in the center of your slides presentation. And if you want to see these alignment lines at all times when you're designing your slides, just go up to View, scroll down to Guides, and then choose See All. And there you'll see that it puts vertical and horizontal alignment lines on your slides to help make sure that everything is centered and lined up when you're creating your slide decks. All right, now that I've shown you some text formatting, let's look at how to add images, and I'll show you a couple tricks here too. So the first thing you're gonna do is go up to Insert and then choose Image. And there you'll see that you have the option to bring in an image from your computer, or you could search for a picture on Google Drive. Now, the problem with searching for images on Google Drive is that neither you nor your students are going to actually have copyright rights to be able to use most of the images that you find there. So a better choice would be to use a third-party website, something like Pixabay or Unsplash. Unsplash does have a direct integration with Google Slides. You can access it by going up to Add-ons, choosing Get Add-ons, and then typing Unsplash. And after you install the Unsplash add-on, that will pull up a sidebar where you can search for images that you have the ability to use without worrying about copyright. All you need to do is click on that image to bring it in. Then you can drag the edges of the image to size it down or resize it back up. And then you can crop the image by going up to the crop tool, and you'll notice that the bars along the outline of the image are going to change when you're using the crop tool, and that's going to allow you to actually change the dimension of the image. In addition to just cropping the image, you can also use the masking tool to quickly turn the image into a shape. You can find masking right next to the crop tool on the drop-down arrow. There you'll see you have a bunch of different options for the types of shapes that you could turn the image into. So here I'll use the masking tool to turn this image into a triangle as well as an arrow. If you're not able to get the Unsplash add-on because it's been blocked by your school, you can always just go directly to the Unsplash or Pixabay website in order to find images that you're able to use. Another way to add images is to add the image as a background, which can also make for a pretty unique creative effect. To do this, just go up to Background, then select Choose Image. And here you'll see that the image is going to take up the entire background of the slide. The important thing here is that you make sure that whatever text you put on top of this image is visible so that students can actually read it. All right, now that I've shown you a couple tips about images, let's look at video. To add a video to your slides, go up to Insert again, and this time select Video. There you'll see that you can choose to search for a video on YouTube. You can pull in a video based on its URL, or you can pull one in from your Google Drive. If you're doing an open search on YouTube, just type the video that you're looking for, and then once you find it, click on it and click Select. You'll notice that that's going to bring the video onto your slide, and just like an image, you can also size that video up or down however you need to. Now, the thing about bringing in a video is that the default settings are going to be that it's going to start from the beginning of the video, and it's going to require you to click the video to actually start it playing. You can change that by clicking on the video, right-clicking, and then clicking Format Options. There you'll see that you can drag the time bar to be able to start the video wherever you want it to begin. Once you've found the place where you want the video to start, click Use Current Time. Then you can also choose to have the video play automatically when the slide pulls up by clicking play automatically. Now we'll see when we go into present mode that the video is going to start exactly at the spot where I chose, and it's going to play without me needing to click. So obviously being able to start the video at any point is going to be useful if you have a longer video and there's just a smaller clip that you want to play. And then having the video start automatically just makes for a little bit more fluid viewing experience. Now we can do something very similar with audio. So to bring in an audio file, go up to Insert and then choose Audio. And there you'll see that you do need to bring in that audio file from Google Drive. So if it's just on your computer, just make sure that you upload it to Drive first. Once you've found the audio file that you want, click on it and again, click the blue Select button. And then you'll see that it brings a little audio icon onto your Google slide. Just like we did with the video, you'll want to click on it in order to pull up a formatting menu on the right-hand side. There you'll see that you can adjust the overall volume of the audio, and you can also choose to have the audio play automatically when the slide opens. You can also choose hide icon when presenting in order to hide the audio icon so that it's not visible for people that are looking at your presentation. And if you want to loop the audio to have it just consistently play over and over again, you can check that box too. All right, so let's check out what it looks like now when we go into present mode and the audio just starts playing automatically. All right, now that I've shown you some tips about text, images, video, and audio, let's look at a couple ways to bring in a hyperlink. So let's say that you're on a slide like this that's referring to some other programs and you want to have students actually go out to those other programs. What you can do is just highlight the text, and there you'll see that because I've highlighted the words Pear Deck, it's actually going to interpret that I likely want to send students over to Pear Deck's website. So I can just click on the name Pear Deck on the drop down here, and it's going to automatically turn the words Pear Deck into a hyperlink. Let's say we have another situation like this slide here, where we want to turn the words step 2 into a hyperlink, except we want that hyperlink to actually take people to another slide in the slide deck. Just like with the other one, you're going to highlight the words, right click and choose link. This time notice that when you choose link, you also have the option to just link to another slide in the slide deck. If you don't see the slide that you're looking for, you can just go down to slides in this presentation, and then you can either select or type the slide that you're looking for. So in this case, I'll type slide number 5. That's going to create a hyperlink to slide number 5. And now when I click on step 2, it's going to immediately jump to that slide in the slide deck. So this is really useful if you're doing something like creating a table of contents in your slide, a digital interactive notebook, or if you want to do something like create a breakout game that has different pathways that students could go down. One way to quickly make your presentations more interesting and engaging is to add motion to your slides. To add motion, just go up to View and select Motion. The first option at the top will be to add a slide transition. The default is that there's no transition. So if you click on the drop-down menu, that will give you some different options for slide transitions that you could add. And once you've picked one, you can also add that transition to every single slide in the slide deck. Let's see what one of these would look like. In addition to slide transitions, you can also add animations on single slides. To add an object animation, select an object like an image or a text box, and then choose the animation that you want from the drop-down menu. I personally like to keep the option on click, which allows me to control the pace that the animations are coming through. Note that if you have a list of items and you want each of those items to come out in sequence as opposed to being animated all together as a single block, then you're going to want to select by paragraph. So notice what happens if you select by paragraph in this example. And you'll see how each item on the list is going to animate separately. You can also change the speed of the animations if you want to slow them down or make them faster. All right, now let's take a look at the theme builder, or what used to be called master slides. To access the theme builder, go to View and then select Theme Builder. So anything that you edit here is going to be edited across the entire presentation. So for example, sometimes when I'm creating slides for presentations, I want to put my logo on every single slide. And rather than doing that manually every single time, I can just add my logo right here to the master slide. Just like adding any other image, I'll go up to Insert Image, find the image that I'm looking for, and then once I drag it and position it on this slide, you'll notice that it's going to show up on every single other slide in the slide deck. Similarly, if you want to do things like change the color or change the font, You can also do that here on the master slide, and then whatever font you choose here will apply across the entire slide deck. Another trick that's somewhat related to the theme builder is that you can also import slides from other slide decks so that you don't have to always recreate them. It's really easy to do this. You just need to go up to File and then select Import Slides. So for example, let's say that I have a slide like this one that I reuse all the time. Rather than recreating it, I can just import it into my current slide deck, and that's going to save me a little bit of time. Now, you might be really into design and just want to build all of your slides entirely from scratch. By all means, do that. But there are also really awesome third-party websites where you can go to find beautiful pre-created templates that you can take, edit, and use in Google Slides. I have two recommendations here. The first place I'd recommend you go is Slidesmania. You'll see that Paula, the creator of Slidesmania, has created an enormous archive of slides templates that she adds to pretty much every single week. To use one of the templates, just click on it, then scroll down and select Google Slides. That will prompt you to use the template, and then once you click on that blue button, it's going to make a copy of the template that it will put directly in your Google Drive. I would recommend that the first thing you do is rename it so that you can easily find it again. All the templates on Slidesmania are totally free to use. You can buy Paula a coffee on her website as a way to tip her and thank her. So I definitely recommend that you do that if you're going to use her slides. Another awesome website for slide templates is Slides Carnival. Just like Slidesmania, Slides Carnival has all kinds of templates that will help you make your presentations way more interesting and creative. So definitely check out Slides Carnival as well. Probably the single most common question I get asked about Google Slides is, how do I draw on Google Slides? Now, there isn't a great native drawing tool within Google Slides that's going to allow you to just draw anywhere on the canvas. To do that, you're going to need to get a third-party extension, and the best one is annotate.net. Annotate is a Google Chrome extension as opposed to a Google Slides add-on. So to get it, you'll need to go to the Google Chrome Web Store and then search for Annotate. After you've added the Annotate extension, open it up and you'll see that it gives you a menu of different ways that you can annotate your screen. Some of these tools will go away after your free trial, like the highlighter tool, but the drawing tool is always there for you to use for free. All you need to do is select the drawing tool, and then you can do things like circle parts of your Google Slides that you want to draw students' attention to. What makes this extension particularly useful is the fact that the annotations that you put on your slides are sticky. That means you can draw on one slide, hop over to another, then go back to that original slide, and the annotations are still there. And yes, you can even use this extension to draw on slides when it's in present mode. Annotate also has a native save tool, so you can save those annotations to be able to reuse them again. And there's a native screenshot tool so that you can take a quick screenshot of your annotations and then do something like upload that back to your learning management system. The other free add-on I would highly recommend that you check out is Pear Deck. Pear Deck is an ideal add-on to use if you've already created Google Slides lessons and just want to quickly make those lessons interactive. Just like I showed you with Unsplash, you'll get Pear Deck by going up to Add-ons, choose Get Add-ons, and then search for Pear Deck. After you've installed Pear Deck, simply go back up to the add-ons and then open it from the add-ons menu. There you'll see that you have some options for different types of interactivity that you can add to literally any of your Google Slides. So you can do things like add a text-based prompt, a numerical response, or you could add a drawing prompt for students to sketch out a response. Another really useful extension is Mote. Mote is going to allow you to easily add voice comments to Google Slides. Just like with Annotate, search for Mote in the Google Chrome Web Store, and after you install it, you'll see a little purple M show up on your Google Slides. Now, to add an audio comment, all you need to do is go up to Insert, click Comment, and then you'll see the purple M icon show up in the Mote comment, and then click to start recording your voice comment. Once you're done, it will leave a little audio comment that students can easily listen to and respond to. I do also have a separate tutorial all about how to use Mote to add audio to Google Slides that I'll link in the video description as well. The last thing that I want to show you here is how to turn a Google Slides presentation into a template that students can use individually or in a small group. So let's say that you've set up a little mini project for students like this All About Me Google Slides presentation. You could put some text boxes where students would have to change what you wrote and then add their own response instead. If you were to share this document with students, then all students are going to be able to edit it at the same time. So instead, your best bet is to go to Google Classroom, and then in Google Classroom, go to the Classwork tab and click Create. That will pull up the assignment editor, And then what you can do is search for the slides that you just made in your Google Drive. Click on the slide deck you just created and then click Insert. That's going to attach the slides to this assignment. And then what you'll want to do is click on the drop-down menu and select Make a Copy for each student. Now when you click Assign, what's happening is that Google Classroom has put a little piece of code on that slide deck in order to make an individual copy for every student that's enrolled in your Google Classroom. Another benefit of doing it this way is that you'll be able to access each of those slide decks directly in Google Classroom, and then you can more easily monitor students' progress. Now, let's say you wanted this to actually be a small group assignment. If you wanted to assign this to a small group of students rather than just individual students, what you could do is go back to your original template, go up to File, and click Make a Copy. When you make a copy of the template, rename it to be the name of the group. And then what you'll want to do is just continue making copies for as many groups as you have. Once you have, say, 5 group templates set up, then you can go back to Google Classroom. And this time, when you create an assignment, select only the students' names from the drop-down menu that you want in a particular group. Once you've selected those students' names, go into your Google Drive and find that one template that you just created for that group. Now, rather than selecting Make a Copy for each student, select Students Can Edit. When you click Assign, that will push that single slide deck template that you just created out to the small group of students, and none of the other students will be able to see that assignment show up in Google Classroom. And then you'll want to repeat this process for every group that you've set up. Thanks so much for watching this video to the end. If you found it helpful, show your support by hitting the like button and also sharing this video with other teachers that you know. And if you want to learn more, like how to create lesson plans with slides, how to create Google Slides hyperdocs, as well as learn more about some of my favorite slides add-ons, then be sure to check out that playlist above. And if you just want some support with getting started taking a strategic approach to teaching with technology, then check out my free How to Teach with Technology Starter Kit. You can get it at newedtechclassroom.com/starter kit. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.